All right, y'all. So we here with Braylon. What's your last name?
Warfield.
Warfield. Warfield.
Yeah,
Okay. So where are you from, bro?
I'm from Texas, well, Palestine, Texas. My favorite country. Been here for 14 years. I was both born in Palestine and kind of a part of Grapeland, Texas.
And what
There's
grade you in?
I'm in ninth grade at the UTT at Tyler Academy.
Okay. So how was high school going for you?
I think it's going great. It's kind of difficult, but I'm starting to get used to it.
Why you say it's difficult?
The only classes that I find difficult is that they give us computer science for this type of grade, and I don't really do well in computer science because it's all about like coding and tech, and I'm not really good with tech. I prefer to be like different with other stuff that doesn't require coding. But I do exceptional in history because I am a nerd when it comes to history. I enjoy history quite a lot, like
Yeah.
learning about different religions and everything.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your view on religions? What do you how you go about that?
I find religions quite amazing. I find them diverse but beautiful because some paint a picture and meaning in life, because some carve beautiful paintings of how we lived and how their gods used to treat them. And I find that sometimes our gods can be, well, quite the same sometimes.
Hmm. Do you think a religion is like a trap?
No, I don't find religion a trap. I find it more quite, well, not a trap. I find people can freely access religion or not. If you want to be an atheist, it's fine. I used to have atheist friends. I didn't know what atheism means until they explained that they don't believe in God. It was back in my old school.
Yeah. So are you in religion?
Yeah, I'm Christian.
You Christian? Okay. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
I believe in Christ.
Okay, so I seen some of your videos. I know one of them you're talking about a whole apocalypse, right? If a whole apocalypse happened.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think that will happen soon? And what do you like? What are your views on it? And what would you do in an apocalypse?
Well, the first question is I already know it's really coming because it's not mostly because of the Bible explain it. Mostly what will really happen is technically humanity is tend to destroy themselves at any cost because mostly we have corrupt leaders and mostly corrupt governors. This is going to get real political, but basically, Trump and all that. Well, it's already kicking off the apocalypse. So for me, if I were to survive the apocalypse, I already seen enough. We only have to hunt small game. So think of like squirrels, raccoons, anything that has stringy meat. That's the only thing we can access to. And it's kind of sad. But this is where things get cooler because history will restart and basically we will be like in the tribal times, but with a bit more modern technology, and we can reinforce different things in more of an apocalyptic scenario. If I were to make traps, I can make like traps for small game or people if cannibalism doesn't start off.
Hmm. So you think the apocalypse will really just do you think it's really about zombies?
It's not really much about zombies. That's biologically impossible, or well, anything impossible. Because one, the movies don't really explain it to you, but in the human body, the muscles will relax, and basically, during death, this is called rigor mortis. And I think zombies wouldn't happen. They would basically just, well, slowly tense up their muscles, and they just completely, fall.
Right. Okay. So what so have you heard about the whole what is it? The digital IDs? Have you heard about that yet?
Yeah, some people can do terrible things with those. I sometimes think technology like that, people can do different things like stealing one's identity or probably stealing the person's identity and using it for bad things like framing and all that. I think
Mhm.
we should just have our own identities presented in like face or like sometimes through blood or
Right.
something like that, but not digital because digital you can never trust anything on the internet or digital wise because it can be hacked or messed with.
So you don't think the whole digital or the expansion of digital, wallets or anything digital is really like wouldn't benefit us in the long run. Like it's bound to fall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's basically the beginning of the end because, well, it's not good in the long run. people can do terrible things, you know. We have free will, and free will can cause us to do, well, many terrible things.
Right. Okay. So I also heard you talking about like just, the morality, death, and hatred. You said you were really trying to figure that out as far as humanity.
As far as I went, I have to explain this, but humanity, well, hatred to first start off. That hatred I don't quite understand. It's not a concept I don't get. Why do people hate another until they realize their time is about to come? Imagine this: the person you've been hating on for many years is finally about to die, and instead of like hating on them for the last time, you finally say their sweet goodbyes because, well, you made terrible memories with them, but, well, you spent those memories tormenting them, and that just doesn't sit well with you. Think about that. I
Mm,
don't get hatred. For death, I always wonder what happens after the cause of death. And the reason why is what happens? Because I always thought there was like how science explains it is DMT is released in the brain after death and all that, and or religion wise, your spiritual essence goes up into the air and, well, goes with the gods, like how I think it's called Nirvana or something, or
yeah.
Valhalla. And finally, humanity. Well, I find humanity quite complex. I either find, well, gray areas in humanity, sometimes seeing bad things happen in the world, and it always changes my perspective on what will really happen in the future. Kind of just scares me because I always see like really terrible things happening with folks.
All right. So as far as, politics, what's your views on politics?
I find them quite stupid. I don't know. I would
Right.
never vote for any type of person. Every man for themselves, I guess, because who needs another powerful person when you can just be ruled under law and not by other powerful folks? Be ruled by other people, but not like people who have complete control over you. Let people kind of control you. Let you decide your own life. Carve your own path, but just don't cause chaos or mayhem or death. Don't hurt people. Just carve your own path in your own way. Not let some rich white man take it over and destroy everything you own.
Right. So in that case, do you think the people should, overthrow the government? Do you think we should take our power back?
Yeah, but there might be multiple reasons. Two of the reasons is either the people who overthrow it can actually complex themselves and think, is this wrong or right? And sometimes people can get mixed in the crowd and they don't know what to do. Or the government might fight back and actually tear gas them, like protests. Protests don't end well for the protesters. But you know the protesters in like the one where they said no kings? Well, the protesters actually won because they were pretty good at it, but the I guess what they're called, I think I forgot, ICE agents were actually fighting back a little too difficult, but they were actually kicking ass. I know.
Hmm. You believe in God, of course. If you could understand God, what do you think God would be saying to humanity right now or thinking?
He would mostly be thinking, why are my children destroying one another when they were made in God's, when they were made in my image? The people I've made for to not be condemned to sin. Why have they fallen to sin and destroyed another's life? Killing, pillaging, murder, rape, torture, all the things imaginable humanity has done, all resting in the God's eyes. He cries, weeping, knowing that he wept at the creatures he created.
Hmm. I mean, everything's really just greed and control and power. That's what this all is.
Yeah, but there's always things that can happen during it, terrible things.
Hmm. So what are your views on racism?
Oh, I hate that. I despise that. See, the reason why I hate racism is why are we diverse? What truly makes us diverse? Why hate on another man's culture? Why hate on another man's religion? Why hate on another man's sexuality? Why do you hate on other folks on what they are? That just that makes me so confused and angry. Why would you just hate another colored folk for who they are? It's sad. And then it's happening. It's like us black folk, we've been tormented like that. and now it's happening to the Mexicans. It's pretty sad, you know, just racism existing everywhere. It even happened back in the 1899 and worse. It's been for like a long time. Well, before like Neolithic period and the BC period, those people were chill with each other. But during the modern periods, racism started because, well, bad people exist.
Right. Okay, we're black folk, right? So, I was always told that like, you're black, stay under the radar, keep your nose clean, don't do, don't stick out like a sore thumb. Do you think like as far as black people, the reason that we are kind of looked down upon is because we are God's chosen people? Do you think
Yeah,
so? Or do you think that we
yeah.
all just collective consciousness and color really doesn't matter and stuff like that?
Actually, both of those. See, sometimes religion can also affect things. See, well, back in 1899, or different types of racism happened. Some white folks thought they were like, well, they were a superior race, and they thought they were like God's image. When actually we were both united in God's image, same creatures, same design feature, and everything. But also, some white folks would also hate on us because of how we're killing off other white folks because we always mix and blend, and they don't like seeing that the white folk community is just slowly decreasing.
Hmm.
But you could just make it work out one day by
Hmm.
not attacking people.
Well, also like, what are your views on slavery? And do you think slavery is still going on today as far as just the modern day slavery?
Mostly modern day slavery is quite different. You see, sometimes some jobs can be underpaid, and sometimes it can feel close to slavery that you're working at minimum wage, but you're working hard as you can. As for slavery, I wish it never existed because, well, why force another man to be put to work and forced to do things they are not wanting to be?
Okay. The Charlie Kirk situation, right? You seen that, right?
Yeah, I actually saw an uncensored video of his shooting.
Hmm.
It was
What
bad.
have you been following Charlie Kirk? Do you know who that is?
Oh, I don't like that man. Heard bad news about him. Poor folk, poor guy didn't deserve to get killed, but he had to not to die, but just, dude, don't be racist or just sexist. It's kind of sad because he was also talking about like school shootings and stuff like that. I think I heard during his speech before,
Do you think he got what he deserved, or you think, what you think?
I mean, the only thing he deserved was getting punched in the face, not getting shot in the neck.
Yeah. Nah, because I mean, he was spreading his own views. I feel like everybody had their own, he's voicing his opinion. Some people liked it, some people thought it was racist.
I'll have to
Uh,
stop you right there because sometimes some of his views are a little diverse, a little bad. Sometimes they're a little racist.
right. Okay, the time period that we're in right now. What do you think is bound to happen? Where do you think we are headed as far as like, in the next coming years, next coming month? Do you see anything happening?
I don't really go out that much. I prefer to stay inside all the time. I'm an inside person, more of an introvert.
Yeah.
And for me, I think the world would possibly change in either we're well dead or possibly the cooler factor if we make our own city or something after like the whole world went kablooey, making our own civilization because history always repeats itself. History
Right.
repeats.
Mhm. So you think
Civilization.
you think a great reset is coming?
Oh yeah, of course it is. Because when there's a couple people of mankind left on Earth and they're forced to repopulate and rebuild their world, it's gonna happen. It's pretty awesome though.
Yeah, now it is. But with the great reset happening, a lot of lives are typically lost, you know what I'm saying?
I know.
What do you think will happen like as far as like nuclear war? What do you think like would be the cause
Mostly
of like mass extinction?
either it's protesting becoming overboard and now actually mass wars against humanity, like mass wars against one another, different people attacking each other, fighting war until one another gets wiped out, until a couple million or a couple thousand are left. Basically, the one that only stands left in humanity.
I also heard you speaking on the school system, right? I seen some
I don't.
videos. You don't like the school system? You think it's like a
No, it's
programming?
not because of the school system. It's just I don't really like school in general. I find it quite boring sometimes. I just don't feel taught by things. It just feels like it's uneducating for me because it just feels boring, bland, and it just feels like it's a part of the system. At least teach me something new other than just history. Like teach me something that I need to know about the real world. That's what I want to know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, essentially, you think it's just programming for people to be clueless and, really just work off a schedule and, because you observe adults, you kind of see how the adult life is. The adult life is very, what you were saying, miserable, or as far as like slavery and stuff like that. Do you think it's very programming as far as like just leaving someone clueless and just making workers?
Getting forced around in situations they don't want to be, working tirelessly on an end and still getting paid squat. It's just sad. A tiny dime. That's all you get for working tirelessly as a human adult. And then you get the worst job that ever was created. It's sad. Sad reality we live in.
Hmm.
Poverty, and that's a part of the thing.
Greed and control, bro. That's what it really is. I seen you talking about relationships. I know you said you wanted to be like single, like you wanted to figure out humanity. You don't really have time for a relationship. What are your views on love and relationships?
I find them weird. I find it just a chemical relationship. All you're gonna do is be chemically bonded with with a different genome, and then you reproduce, and then it just happens again. It's a cycle. I kind of find love boring because it's all lovey-dovey. You just say lovey words to your other lover, or love is confusing, that and that. I find love boring. I just find it confusing, weird, and just not my type. I prefer to be alone, you know. I prefer to be in my own headspace, just away from folks. I like to think sometimes, you know,
Right.
away from people.
Right. And I think, relationships, I feel like it's a drug almost. Everybody feels like they need love and they need someone to be there with them.
The sadder thing is, well, that reality is people who want to be loved never have been loved the most in their life, and that's why they prefer a lover. I've been loved all my life, and I don't really need a lover.
Nah, I get that. I get that. So you think people are just broken and looking at, so you're seeking love that they probably didn't grow up with.
Warmth, basically. Warmth for, well, someone to hold them in the end times, you know? Someone there with you, at least. Someone that socially gets you.
Hmm. Do you think that's kind of like a drug? Like, I don't really think.
Not a drug. It's the way how the human mind works. Human minds are very simple and fragile. I like to wonder about the human psychology, anyways. But the reason why is throughout our young and inebriated minds, slow and, well, nimble, we grow into reasonable adults. But sometimes some don't spurt through, well, good lives and sometimes deserve warmth. And that's why they try to find relationships, someone who actually loves them, other than their, well, terrible parents. Sometimes someone wants to find love, not through chemical bonds, sex, or none of that, just because they feel like someone's there for them.
What's your whole view on AI?
I use AI sometimes, but I gotta say, it's all right. I mean, it's nothing bad, but if it overtakes our job, then we could, reboot it. But the scarier part is that I think I heard about how like there's this type of AI that can create viruses or something, like human viruses, ancient ones. But I think that's just a whole lot of crap that the people are trying to fearmonger us. And that word fearmonger means to make people afraid of this type of news.
Because AI is essentially replicating humans, like robots
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
but not, they don't have soul. They don't have the soul. They don't have emotion. They don't have feeling. A soul is what makes you truly human, not undead, not robotic, but human. And I think AI, it's too powerful, but it's the only way to advance humanity. At all costs, humanity may be either erased by their own creations, because remember this simple word: we shape our tools. and our tools shape us.
Mm. Have you ever watched like robot movies like where robots take over
I
humanity?
I think I forgot what the thing. You know, that black dude who starred in that robot movie.
You
What is
talking about Will Smith?
Yeah, Will Smith. He was in that movie called I Am or
I Robot.
I Robot. Yeah, I watched that movie. It was pretty good.
Do you think they're kind of showing you what's to come? Are they showing you the script? You know, because a lot of things in movies have came true or, you know, seem like they're headed on becoming true. They show you before it happens. You know what I'm saying? And they put it in a form of entertainment.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying is actually true. In the movie I, Robot, it explains that some robots can go rogue and want to feel truly. Or this the book that turned into a video game called Am. It's basically, well, I have no mouth and I must scream. You know that book?
No, I never heard of it.
It's basically a robot who has gone rogue and basically massacred all of humanity, but leaving a couple prisoners left and tormenting them for eternity and never letting them die. That's the
Hmm.
book. And AM is this like supercomputer that basically wanted to feel something, but he never did, and he was like it felt like torment for him because he was printed into a computer, but his AI went rogue and he could think. He could like think, he can process.
Yeah,
And he made a monologue called Hate, where he talks about the example of hate or something.
yeah. Do you think AI is making us relatively dumber?
Actually, true. We're relying on another source of, well, human intelligence that's, well, higher grade than us that uses a bit more sophisticated language.
I feel like it's stopping the evolution of humans as far as mentally, you know?
Actually, technology has been kind of devolving us a bit, making us a little more stupider, relying completely on technology. Like everyday technology use, we're becoming more reliant on, and that makes us more not bright anymore. We're just not being ourselves again. We're just trapped in the world full of technology, egoism, socialism, and all the terrible things happening around us while we're just consuming our day-to-day lives on technology.
Right. So are you think we almost in like zombie-like states?
Actually, if I were in a zombie movie or probably in like a zombie game, I'd probably prefer The Walking Dead because slower zombies. But if I wanted to have a bit of a challenge, probably Dying Light. Why? There's these things called what's they're called? Forgot their names, but they're called volatiles. And they're like evolved zombies that are fast and can like rip you apart in seconds. And they're like a mutated zombie. And you know, Dying Light, that game, I think I could survive Dying Light. All I need is UV light and a couple guns and baseball bats. And I think I could live if I just have to armor myself up. And
Mhm.
I think I could live. But when it comes to outrunning, what are they called? Volatiles? No, there's no human way I could outrun them. It's either flashing them with a UV light or running like hell.
Scientists say we only use how much percent of our brain? Like 5%? Something like that.
Yeah, but you can use more. Did you know that?
Yeah, I
Technically,
know. How
since
how
your
would you do that? How would you think you do that?
since your brain only uses 5% of its power, you can actually use a couple more of it if you just actually study it. See, you have enough brain capacity, enough brain cells that you basically can, well, consume enough knowledge to actually store an entire, well, computer, and it could still be filled up with more of our knowledge. Like, think of two brains in a computer. It would fry that computer completely because we have petabytes of information. You
Mm.
don't get that. It's basically a bunch of information, like a
Yeah.
big number.
So
And we
why
have like,
why why do you think a lot of humans haven't reached that capacity of using more of our brains?
we technically only relied on technology, making us, well, not use our brains as much because we don't need people to, well, smarten us up. AI has done that, and well, we're totally reliant on AI and technology, and it's pretty sad. Look at us now. Look at what we have become. It's like de-evolution.
Facts. So do you think like the food and the things that they give us as far as like radiation, I feel like they're hitting us from every which way as far as especially the food, brainwashing and stuff. You think that's all to keep us from evoluting as far as the brain?
Actually, no. This reason why we're so intelligent is because of cooked meat. See, back in like the Stone Ages, probably in the DC or probably older times, where like primates and big cavemen with like clubs and stuff. Well, we when we cooked meat, it increased our brain intelligence, and well, food is basically like is like our only source of increasing our brain knowledge. Like cooking meat, it only keeps our information stored. There's also different types of foods that actually help with the brain capacity, so like just brain food helps.
Mm. So you think we're meant to eat meat? Or you think we're meant to eat vegetation and herbs?
We were meant for both. Omnivores. We are the basically the alpha of all creation in this world. Because as so far as for animals that are also omnivores, we basically can consume as whatever we want because well, our body has developed over time after eating different types of ingredients, plants, herbs, meats, and different things that we've developed a palate for anything actually. Caffeine, food, it's you name it.
Mm. So it's like we in these big technology bodies. So, we feel like we can so in a way, if that is the truth, we can pretty much take on anything as far as chemicals and stuff. Like food, right? For example, I know you've seen some videos about people talking about chemicals in the food. Uh, do you think that's killing us for real, or do you think that since we're so diverse and that we, evolve, do you
Ah,
think we can take that on, or what?
oh no no no! Your food is already poisoned, but it's just basically it's at a stupidly low dosage. It means it won't basically kill you, but it will mess up your body. That's why you get all fat because of carbohydrates, sugars, salt, fats, carbs, everything. But in such a low amount, you could basically eat a higher amount of that, but it gets you more fat.
Hmm. What do you think about the gun violence
Gun
in America?
violence, well, I always know this word. People kill people. Guns don't kill people.
Facts.
Because the reason why is if I put a gun on the table, would it shoot itself? No. Only misfires happen, and they're not common. They're pretty rare. And guess what? Many murders with guns are really high, you know. School shootings can double that rate because it's always that one person. Basically, if we increase our gun regulations and laws, we basically can have guns, but only for self-defense use, hunting, and that's it. For
Hmm.
only two regulations, self-defense and hunting. That's it. We can use
Yeah,
that.
but as far as gun control, they have the power to take it off the streets or at least, set better regulations so it won't be as easy to access a gun. But, for the most part, it's easier to get a gun than it is to get a job. They get paid off us, hurting each other and destruction on one another. I don't feel like they
Damn,
will ever stop, the destruction.
that's just sad, man. I guess this world is meant for true destruction, I guess. We were out for each other at the start, and now it has begun. And now history will repeat itself after our extinction, and then another civilization will come. It's just basically a life cycle, but it never ends. Think of the Ouroboros, that snake thing that eats itself. Well, that basically explains that whatever we do is just going to be repeated on forever. It's never stopped.
So it's like a movie that it's like on replay, basically.
Yep, we never stop killing each other. It's a thing we always do. Until then, another species does the same, and another, and another, and another.
Hmm.
It goes on in a cycle. Different planets, well, multiverses, anything. It will happen if it can happen. If
So
it's a
you
type of weapon that can kill, it can happen.
and so in a sense, would Earth be like some type of prison or some type of trap, you know?
It's not a trap. It's just our only prison in this world. Basically, it keeps us what changes here. Caged animals only fit for survival and violence. That's it. We're only meant for violence and chaos. That is what we're all bred for, I guess.
Right. This cycle keeps repeating over and over and over again. There's a lot of theories that say that, we are in some type of prison, like as far as, what's going on Earth right now. It's like a prison planet, you know what I'm saying? Destruction, killing, and it's ongoing, so on and so forth. Do you think we'll ever transcend this? Do you think there'll ever be like a sort of heaven on Earth in a way?
No, no haven is a safe haven. It's a haven for a period of time, but it will no longer be safe. It's not safe. There's no safe havens in this world. Sometimes when we relax too long, sometimes it can be counted as well a set of, well, what's it called? Resting basically means if you want to just, quit your job and not do anything, it's a form of protest. It basically means to completely give up and not give what the man wants. Just give up and just move away from what happens. No jobs for the white man equals less money, and less money equals less power. It's just basically don't move. Don't even bother them. It's just like an annoying creature. It's silent, bothersome, but once it leaves you alone, it'll go away forever.
Right. So what do you think will happen if if people decided one day to just stop going to work? You think this will all be over?
It will be finally over. If it's a sign of protest, it means it will work definitely effectively. Less murder rates would happen by that time because, what you just said can, well, never distribute guns. So no one would be killed anymore and resulting in just change.
So you don't think Earth gets better, it only gets worse.
Yeah.
Since you are a Christian, I know, heaven and hell is a big thing in the Christian world. Do you believe in it? Do you believe that there's a hell and heaven after life?
Oh, there is a heaven and afterlife. But the reason I believe it is hell is not what you think. It's not all flames, torture, whips, or melting, or all those terrifying AI images you find of what realistic hell is. It's actually a form of way of telling you that, well, this is your place now. At the first level of hell, where you did nothing wrong, it's basically purgatory up there. And then at the lower layers of hell, to the eighth layer of hell, or the eighth gate of hell, it basically is the most frozen place. Hell gets hotter, then colder. It just shows how our sins go. It the more the more blasphemous or evil the sin is, the more likely you're going to get most of the hottest punishment. As for different types of punishment, it depends on the sin you've committed. Gluttony, it probably just I don't know what gluttony would look like, but I heard some folks say that lust, it's like there's a room and it can do your most any desire you want, like any sexual desire. It's weird. Hell is basically it's basically mental torture. It's not to kill or hurt. It's just basically to slowly deteriorate the mind of one who failed God or just hurt people. And basically, it's your eternal home where you never, ever want to do it again. Oh, and also, Satan is not like a guy with horns or a red tail. He's a malevolent serpent who can lie, deceive, and morph into things. He's not a devil. He's your utmost inner fears in your head that causes you to deceive. One word, one lie can always sprout a seed in your head, causing one of the worst things to ever happen. He's a serpent. He's the seed giver to sprout the lies in your head.
Hmm. So do you think in a sense that we are our own devils and gods. Like we like the devil, the story of God and the devil are ultimately,
I know the story.
yeah. Do
I
you
know
think
the
it's
story.
ultimately, do you think it's ultimately like the story of us, what we're capable of? Because obviously we're
Yeah,
capable of evil and we're capable of, good.
actually, since we were in the garden, it was actually Adam and Eve's fault because we were meant to be, well, not condemned to sin. The apple was the fruit. The sacred apple was basically the way of sin and humanity are, well, united. And since that apple was eaten, sin and humanity were divided. But since they ate the apple, for it was sacred because it would basically like unite sin and humanity together, causing us to be sinful creatures who are either blasphemous, oblivious, or just evil against God or other people.
Right. But we're okay, look, we not sent down here with no rule book. A lot of people are very confused because a lot of people didn't ask to be here. A lot of people are very confused on what's going on. So how can we be so sure that if, these things we call sin is something, that will haunt us in the afterlife? Like, what if it's just really like a free mode? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you do what you want in a place of duality.
Well, the thing is, how sins actually affect us are different. See, gluttony, it's the death of, well, overeating. But the reason why eating so much is save one for another man. Eating too much is a sin, you know. Gluttony, being gluttonous and continuously eating at large portions or any portion, just continuously eating just not stopping is gluttony. Actually, for the sins I've committed, it is mostly lust and wrath. I cannot handle lust or wrath. Wrath is my most difficult one to control because I'm always so angry, and my anger is more violent, I guess. And I don't know how to handle that. So, yeah, wrath, I struggle with wrath, and lust, I don't really know what to do with that one. That one's just difficult, like extremely difficult. I don't even know how to defeat lust. I'm at like a loss
Right.
there.
Hmm. So have you heard about transhumanism?
Like trans folks or some.
Nah, we're gonna get into that in a minute, but transhumanism is that they're setting out to put human consciousness in AI, so that we can compete when that age of, robots, are taking over jobs, that we will merge with
Oh,
AI.
I could be a cyborg.
Yeah.
I could be a cyborg.
But you gotta look
Yeah,
at the
but
good and the bad of it.
I don't know. I would be probably called so many like robot slurs because you know that clinker word. Yeah, I would probably
Yeah.
be called that. But the reason probably it would be a bad idea is due to how humans are like very judgmental of themselves. They could probably judge how their metallic body in which they were flesh, because they would probably question why they were like this and what purpose were they made for this, and probably existential crisis. As for the good side, you're pretty much just like Superman or like Iron Man, and you get to like do a lot of cool crap or something, I guess. Or you could probably just be like a part of a computer or something, probably trolling your friend after death. Like imagine you
Say it
died,
again?
and you put your like consciousness in the computer, and then you get to bother your friend while he's playing computer on his computer or
Yeah.
working on his computer. That'd be funny.
But you don't think that's kind of like the Antichrist? Like, do you think that would trap our soul if we converge with AI?
No, but it's a kind of a way of playing God because they basically created their own version of a human being because it has like sentience and also has like an atomic soul, like robotic stuff, and it has a mind. It's sad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're like you said, they're trying to play God. They're trying to Elon. He doing a lot right now. They seem like they are trying to play God. If the Antichrist was a person, I feel like it would be, like Elon and what's going on right now as far as robots and stuff like that.
Actually, there might be like there actually are a few antichrists, mostly governors and people who control humans because they're just Well, it's wrong to control humanity and just be, well, evil towards it. Like how they treated humanity was sad.
So the government is really the Antichrist, if you think about it.
Yeah, because they're mostly like leading a pagan organization and probably causing more pain and sorrow for family members who are Mexican.
Do you think the government would always exist, or do you think we'll eventually overthrow it?
I think it would still exist because even if like now today, certain governments would still exist nowadays because of, well, we could just build a new place and create a new kingdom and it will still be a government that watches over us because we need a new form of, well, supervision around and who funds the police, right?
I think the world would be a very much better place. But I feel like
No,
there'll always be a government, no matter what civilization we have. I really wonder how life would be if we was all just free and we all just worked off our own thoughts, our own mind.
yeah, I always wondered that.
ISIS, right? You know how ISIS been, coming in people's houses and deporting people. What's your thoughts on that?
God, I hate those folk. Why do they take innocent folks from their homes who did nothing wrong? They're immigrants. Let immigrants live here, okay? Immigrants are humans like us. They're American. If they live in this country, God bless them. They may live in this country without any regard. I would love letting them in our country. I would love that. But people just snatching them away from their homes and then some weird like Trump follower, and I think Trump followers are like a cult. But anyways, and then a bunch of Trump followers might like look at it and just start applauding or something, I guess. Just because of how like they're watching poor innocent immigrants getting arrested for no reason and sent back to their country. Horrible. Horrible.
It is. He claims because they're taking up all the jobs. We need space. They're not Americans. We need to open up some room for Americans to like, get their piece of the pie.
Yeah, but don't they have enough money that they could expand the place and probably do better?
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, that's the whole lottery and shit. They can do that. They can use the money that they use for lotteries and other shit, and that the money they give the other countries for making America great. But I feel like it's made to be a prison planet. It seems like
Yeah.
if you look outside, everything's dull, everything's very gray, colors are very dull, everything's very prison-like. I feel like that's what they're
Yeah.
trying to turn America into.
Yeah. But since they have so much money, how come they're not like expanding their place and doing the things that they just said? Aren't they? Does that mean they're actually racist? Well, I mean, they are racist anyways.
Have you ever heard of the doomsday clock?
Doomsday clock. Oh, I've heard that one. It's basically the time we have left before doomsday. I already think I could survive doomsday. All I need is just a refrigerator or probably a homemade bunker.
A lot of rich people are making bunkers and stuff like that. Yeah, I personally believe that doomsday isn't for us. I feel like, in the spiritual community, a lot of people feel like that they're preparing for the battle against Christ consciousness. Like for, you're religious
The
and they say,
horseman apocalypse, like the four horsemen apocalypse or something.
yeah, but I mean, I personally believe that it is, you know, that they are hiding, that they are trying to hide from Christ consciousness. You know how they said Jesus will come back, but a lot of
Yeah.
people think that Jesus is coming back in the form of people and that people are getting like supernatural powers back and that they will combat the government.
Don't find this out of the ordinary, but I basically have these weird religious dreams that are kind of rare at times, but basically God will give you messages. Because when I was younger, I keep seeing like visions of like spirits and stuff roaming around. I guess my power got weaker because my mental started like growing back to better. But I had weaker like I was like lose control of my mental abilities, and I had like these things where I could see spirits. I saw this like weird white ghost figure. I also have a guardian angel. Um, yeah, I also get these religious dreams. When I was younger, uh, I remember I had this religious dream where God or some of God's one of God's messengers told me that on Wednesdays you cannot eat food. I think it's
On
called Lent.
Wednesdays?
Yeah, a thing told me about that in my dream.
Don't eat food on Wednesdays. That's interesting.
I know. I keep having these religious dreams. I don't know. They might mean something though, because they always something might have them.
Do you think God is within us, or do you think God is an outside source?
He's actually within us, the Holy Spirit.
You think it's
He's
in
in
all
our
of us?
soul. Yeah, I think he's in all of us, in our souls, in our minds.
So if that's the case, then everything is an expression of God. So what if it's just God expressing himself through all of us, which is good and evil?
Or maybe it's like type of Satan thing. I don't know.
If we are all logged into the consciousness of God, right? And we are all essentially the breath of life of God, and that, God blew his life form and his breath into all of us, and we're basically experiencing God, or the consciousness of God through everything as far as plants, nature, items. We're logged into like the consciousness. Isn't God evil and good? Isn't Satan God as well?
I don't know. Maybe it might be Satan in our heads and God in our soul. Like, that little thing where the angels on that side and demons on the other side.
Yeah.
Like, think of that. Like,
Hmm.
self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is basically like you ponder about whether this is good or right. And like, I was thinking, maybe it's just because we're corrupted in sin, we have to find a way that truly gets us closer to God and what makes our spirits more connected with Him, more of like a inner thing.
Man, it's definitely something interesting to think about. So, okay, let's talk about trans rights. What do you think about trans rights and that whole ordeal?
I think people should have rights. Anyone can have voting rights. I don't care. Even people need rights, so trans people can get rights. I don't mind. Women got voting rights and they got rights. See, I think that can work.
As far as trans, like Trump and his people, they're trying to, like, suppress it now. They're trying to basically get rid of a lot of their rights and flags and colors and them expressing themselves. What do you take on that?
I think expressing yourselves is the best thing in this earth. I
Hmm.
express myself in different ways.
All right. So do you think it's wrong that Trump is like trying to suppress the whole
I
uh
find it very wrong. Kind of reminds me of how women fought for their rights and they won. And I think they can do that if they believe in themselves.
do you think men being in charge is one of the few reasons why destruction is very high?
It's not actually. It's mostly certain people can cause problems.
Hmm.
Most people can make a bad look on many things. One simple person can ruin it all, like a domino effect. One simple tip, and it all could happen. Like, how like someone could do something bad in the black community and then everyone will like point at him and say, don't end up like him. Well, that's just what happens. But it affects everyone else too.
Right.
They point out the guy who did that, but then everyone else points out the entire community for being bad, even though it was just one person that did the bad thing.
The Kamala thing, it seems like we're very afraid as men, especially men, of a female becoming president. Do you think that's probably what we need for everything to Do you think women need to be in charge of the world if we are going to have a government? Do you think women will lead us to a better life, of love and stuff like that?
That's a pondering question. Feminists and many, and also I've seen many feminist videos. I do not think that would be happening. Not in a rude way. I'm just saying, man, I just don't want folks to get mad at me, but I don't think it's going to happen. Feminism has happened so much, and it scares me to think what would happen if women ruled the world. Scary life we would live in, because feminism will
I,
probably do terrible things to us.
I don't know. I don't know, bro. I feel like men ruin women. I think females are naturally loving people.
Yeah, well, that's not always on them. Sometimes, they can be a little grouchy. I know. I poked the bear once, and that was my mother. And I was also other females. I was always like bullied by females sometimes, so I would always try to fight back, and that's like poking the bear. They're feisty.
Yeah, I feel like women that are truly aligned and that are truly in their divine femininity, I feel like nothing but love will come from it. Because I mean, you interact with men, you interact with females. I mean, females, I'm not saying females are perfect, but females have a way of more of uplifting than men. But I feel like men are way more negative, and that's why we commit crimes and we do most of the killing and things of that nature. So if we
Actually,
act,
the reason why we're so negative is men hold in so much emotions, and people don't even know it nowadays. People literally don't know the amount of suffering a man goes through. You know how men go to war? Let me tell you this. PTSD is not what you think in movies or how it's awesome looking. It is basically the breaking of a man's point who just witnessed the times where everything didn't feel right. It felt like all people hated each other, war was ongoing, and it's called post-traumatic stress disorder. And basically, your brain would freak out, and the only reason to protect it was to just stay away from folks, or even worse, be extremely paranoid. That's why I think men just deserve better mentally, man. They deserve more happiness. I've just seen it, man. I've seen how they just suffered, and I've seen how folks were just disheartened about them, but people don't spread this awareness, and now men always get the bad finger pointed at them.
so you think men just deal with a lot and we go through a lot. That's why we express our emotions differently.
Oh yeah, and also it's not because of rape and all that. Like it's not between us. Sometimes women can do it too. We can do different things. Many things women can do. It can happen, man.
Do you think this is like a simulation that we live in?
I don't believe in that crap. I do not believe in that. That's not right. You just freak someone out thinking we're in a simulation, which is not possible. If it were, I would probably be waving around my arms or probably stepping out of a barrier, and I never stepped out of a barrier. So I'm probably thinking simulations don't exist. It's just a fear mongering skill.
Hmm, that makes sense. Because I mean, if it was simulation, we'd probably be able to walk through walls and a whole bunch of other stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? Do you think extraterrestrials are real?
Oh, of course, man. I always believed in ghosts. I actually, well, the thing about my granny papas is their house is straight up haunted. See, in Palestine, Texas, or well, Grapeland, Texas, my granny and papa live somewhere, and my mom calls the place a ghost town because she lives in Grapeland, Texas for a long time, way longer before I was even born. And let me tell you, she told me that some like dude who owned my granny and papa's home, like a rental apartment. I think no, it was like the dude who rented them the apartment. He passed away, so I'm starting to think his spirit is lurking in that house because every time I come over there and I sit on the couch or try to sleep on the couch, I always keep seeing him in like the kitchen corner. And the whole place, it's like think of an old but like classic look of the house. Well, I keep seeing his spirit everywhere I go, and it's making me unnerved. Like he's scary. He's like stalking everywhere, like a ghost. Ooh, stalking everywhere. And I think extraterrestrials exist. Ghosts do exist. Well, not ghosts. They're not called ghosts. They're mostly called, well, spirits, wandering souls, or just, well, in limbo. Basically, meaning they're dead, but they're in limbo. Meaning we can see them, but we can't really see them because espers can see them only. And I'm kind of like an esper, but I can only see that certain dude in, well, my grandpapa's house because he's dead. And I think he's haunting us. I don't know if
Huh.
it's him haunting me. I don't know. It's a ghost.
So you do think that, well, I mean, for if spirits are still here past death, a lot of times they say that what they're tracked and they're trapped and they can't ascend. So they kind of just stay on the earth and they, wander around and as spirits.
Yeah, I'm
Um
always afraid of him. I don't know. Every time I go at my granny and papa's house, I always get that eerie vibe, like someone's there. Even when my granny and papa are out to go, like do some stuff, and I always get that eerie vibe that someone is watching me, and I always just know it's him. I'm starting to think that place is haunted, but I just I can't put my finger on it because sometimes I'll hear noises like tapping noises or knocking noises. Not like knocking, knocking, just more of like a quiet tap or something. And I always keep hearing that. Or sometimes I'll see like something in the corner of my eye that's like a shadow figure. And I'm like, oh God, I've seen shadow figures all the time. Over there in my and like down the hallway, I could see like shadow figures sometimes when I was younger. Still to this day, I could kind of see shadow figures, but I guess my power is kind of wearing off a bit. But I think I have to refill it. It's like a refill power, like regenerate.
Yeah. Yeah, I see them beings at the corner of my eye all the time. I forgot what they call them. I think they called forgot. But I think they're definitely real. But you know, usually a lot of times when you do look at you'll see some of the corner eye and you look, it's just like, oh shit, like nothing's there. I
Yeah,
think they called skim. I don't know what they call them. I forgot. I don't even want to say. I don't even want to butcher the name. But when I say extraterrestrials, I'm saying like, do you think we're really ruled by like
ancient
into
ones.
yeah, do you think we're ruled by entities that aren't human? Like as far as government and stuff, like do you think the people that run this planet aren't human?
Oh yeah. Some people say they don't believe in magic. Well, I'll tell you, man. Since I've been talking about spirits, there's also black magic. Black magic straight up exists. It's a satanic type of magic that exists throughout the ancient ages, and and females were burned for using black magic, like literally burned on a stake. And literally, black magic exists. It works. And there's actual demons that exist. So there's actual extraterrestrials. That answers your question. Because they literally are everywhere. Some people think they can see the goat man, or sometimes sometimes creatures, or sometimes demons, basically. Like Pazuzu. There was this dude who killed people for the demon Pazuzu. I think he was like a it was like a Mexican kind of demon, and basically he was killed by Pazuzu with like a giant scratch mark on him, and like he was mauled to death by him or killed brutally. Yeah, and Pazuzu is a demon, like an actual demon. We're ruled by extraterrestrial forces, but they don't come out like all the time. We're ruled silently. They don't know they know we're here, but we don't know they're here. You know, you know that place called what's it called? The very part of the woods that is very scary. What's it called?
The
Uh,
woods is very scary.
yeah, but no, this is a certain woods. It's basically known for its reputation. It's like ancient area. It's a part of the world, and it's like somewhere around. I think I forgot its name, but it's called
I
the.
don't
It
know.
starts with an R.
Yeah, I don't know, but kind of describe it.
So basically, the place is known for a long walk. It's like a giant road, but it has many rules. And basically, the forests in there have many rules to follow. Don't whistle. Don't listen to your name being called. There's many more I forgot, but there's basically ancient spirits that rule that domain of the certain woods, and there's actual people who live there, but basically are like they have to follow the rules because these actual ancient ancient entity rules. Because if you don't follow them, you literally die because there's demons there. And demons are everywhere, actually.
Hmm.
It's real.
Literally.
But they don't look like all those dudes with horns. No, they look like freaks, like terrifyingly freakish. They feed off your fear. And they feed off your guilt too. They feed off everything. They just feed off your sadness, regret, remorse, feelings. They just feed off your emotions. And they get a pleasure out of feeling your emotions. Like that.
Right. So do you think that that's what this whole thing is? Like, okay, let me explain. So, you know, when you grow up and, you know, like you say, a lot of things is fear mongering, fear, you know, the whole thing of uh what they do to humans, you know, as far as, you know, stressing them out and like, you know, always having them in constant worry. Do you think that's the way of them extracting our energy from us? Like we're like in a big harvesting
Yeah, that's
nest,
how
you
they do
know?
it. They like to make places unnerving. Not like some spooky jump scare or I'm gonna appear in this corner. No. They like to make the environment feel unnatural. It makes your soul feel weary, heavy, and it just makes your place and your bones don't feel right. Makes everything feel unnerving, and every corner you turn, there's nothing there. It increases paranoia, fear, and increases your, well, unnervingness until you go mad. Completely mad, running around crazy until either the demon just like takes your essence or just drains your energy because they're like you're basically they drain your mental energy because they like to take off your mental energy and they would kill you if you want to. But they most likely like seeing humans go mad. They prefer to torment us mentally. They like screwing with us other than killing us because they would only kill us for fun. But they'd still do it. They can literally do it. And Pazuzu, he's a blood type demon. Basically, if you do a blood ritual, if you're part of a cult and you do ritual stuff with him, you have to feed him 24/7 with dead bodies. You have to kill things to sacrifice to Pazuzu so he can stay fed. And if you don't, he feeds on you. That's it. The demons are real, and so are extraterrestrials. It's freakish.
So now, yeah. So I'm on the same page with you. So I think that's what was going on here. I think that we serve, the higher up people that's higher up in the government. I feel like that, that's why everything's so demonic and blood and rituals are such a thing because it had extraterrestrials have to be in charge of the planet. It only makes sense.
Yeah, but they're actually not a part of what you think. They don't rule over. They're more likely watchers. They watch. They basically are like ancient gods that have seen hell and well the birth of man. After God created us, they already ruled the lands before well tribes. I guess after tribes discovered them and how they ruled the nights and seas and basically how they were created. Basically, meaning don't listen to what anything tells you. Like creatures like that, they only watch. They don't speak. They don't make noise. They watch and judge.
Hmm. What you think is in the ocean?
Sometimes I think there's things down there. Sometimes I think one day there will be blood in the water due to, Moses. I fear that the things that are ancient and kept sacred will happen once again, unlocking a chasm full of horrifying things like the Pandora's box.
But all right, bro. I appreciate you coming on. Do you have any social media that you want to shout out to the people?
Shout out to the people on TikTok. For the people who follow on my page on TikTok, follow this man. He's cool. Anyways, stay happy and healthy.
All right, bro. I appreciate you for coming on. Maybe, we can do another one of these, depending on how everything works out. And then, yeah, I'll probably get in touch with you
See
or
ya.
your mom or something like that.
See you, dude.
All right, bro.
See you, dude.
All right.